I'm going to tell you about the day I died. Not the day my appendix ruptured on a garage floor. The day I died was 3 years earlier. Midnight. My kitchen table. Signing a piece of paper I didn't read because my son asked me if I trusted him. Stay with me. This doesn't go where you think it does. My name is Elias Shaw. I'm 60. I live in Clarksburg, West Virginia, a town that used to build ships and now just builds excuses. 37 years at Allegheny Steel before they gutted the plant. Now I weld on contract. $94,000 a year before the government and the insurance company take their pound of flesh. It's not poor. It's not rich. It's the space in between where you work until your hands go numb and still can't afford to stop. I've got 2 kids. Maya, 34, divorced, broke, sleeping on my couch since her husband cleaned out their account and vanished to Florida. And Julian, 38, corporate tax attorney, $340,000 a year, calls twice a year, both times to ask for something. March 17th, 3 years ago, midnight. My phone rang. Dad, I need a favor. Time sensitive. Not important. Not urgent. Time sensitive. Like I was a deadline instead of his father. There's a property, he said. Old shipyard dock down by the river. Condemned. Worthless. I'm restructuring assets, and I need it held in someone else's name. Just on paper. You won't have to do anything. Julian, why can't you just? Dad. His voice dropped. Got soft. The way it used to sound when he was 10 and wanted something. Do you trust me? Here's the thing. Julian called me drunk once, years back. Only honest conversation we ever had. Said he was tired of being the poor kid at law school. Tired of counting quarters while his classmates bought rounds. I'm never going to struggle like you, Dad. Never. I thought he meant he'd work hard. Turns out he just meant he'd work me. But that night, on the phone, I didn't remember any of that. I just heard my son asking if I trusted him. Yeah, I said. I trust you. The papers came the next morning. 23 pages. I signed where the tab said sign. I didn't read the rest. That's on me. God, that's on me. If you've ever trusted someone who didn't deserve it, you already know where this is going. But you don't know how it ends. Nobody does. Stick around. 3 years went by. Quiet years. Then, on a Tuesday in June, the pain hit. Low, right side, sharp, like something inside me tore loose. I went down on the concrete floor of my own garage, shoulder first, then flat on my back, staring at a buzzing fluorescent light, thinking one clear thought. This is how I die. Alone. In a town that forgot my name. Maya found me 10 minutes later. Laundry basket on her hip. Staring down at me like she couldn't process it. Dad. Dad, why are you on the floor? Hospital. I gasped. Now. Ruptured appendix. Emergency surgery. 90 minutes on a steel table. Insurance approved one night. 1. For a 60-year-old man they'd just cut open. Maya drove me home in her rattling 2005 Honda and got me up the stairs one step at a time, my hand pressed flat against the incision like I could hold myself together if I just pushed hard enough. Did you call Julian? She asked. No. Dad, he won't come. You don't know that. I looked at her. Yeah, kiddo, I do. She called anyway. Left a voicemail. He didn't call back. Not that day. Not the next. Not for 6 days. On day 3, Maya sold her car. I didn't know until I heard the bus hiss to a stop outside and saw her walking to the door in the rain. Maya, where's the Honda? She didn't turn around. Sold it. You need that car. You've got interviews. You need prescriptions, Dad. I can't pay for both. She got on the bus. The doors closed. The diesel engine pulled away in the rain. I lay there listening to it fade, and I felt a shame so heavy it had weight. My daughter sold her car so I could heal. My son hadn't called. Julian showed up on day 6. Not because of the voicemail. Because Caroline, his wife, saw a Facebook post from one of Maya's friends. That's how my son found out I'd almost died. Facebook. From a stranger. They didn't knock. Julian had a key. I heard them in the hallway. Caroline walked into my bedroom, took one look around, and wrinkled her nose. Didn't say anything. Didn't have to. I saw it in her face. Julian checked his watch before he even asked how I was. We can't stay long. Brunch at noon. But listen, there's a thing with the dock property. Tax window's closing. I need you to sign it back over to me, today. Then he pulled a leather folder out of his briefcase and set it on my bed, next to my leg, while I was lying there with a 6-inch incision held together with glue. Like he was serving a warrant. Caroline smiled. Julian just wants to clean up some paperwork. Like I was a file to be closed. I looked at the folder, then at my son, then at Maya, standing in the doorway holding a bowl of soup, staring at her brother like she'd never seen him before. Get out. Julian blinked. What? You found out I had surgery from Facebook. You walked in, looked at my home like it was a landfill, and put papers on my sickbed. Get out. His jaw tightened. He picked up the folder. Fine. We'll talk when you're rational. The door slammed hard enough to knock a picture off the wall. The lawsuit came 4 days later. Certified mail. Maya read it to me because my hands were still shaking from the meds. Julian was suing me. A partition action. Trying to force the sale of the dock. His filing said I was mentally unfit and obstructing access to his asset. His asset. Maya, get my laptop. I pulled up the deed. The one I'd signed 3 years ago. And for the first time I actually read it. Section 4 made me the sole legal owner. Not temporary. Not joint. Sole. Then I scrolled to Section 12. 1 line. That's all it took. Proceeds of sale. 95% J. Shaw / 5% E. Shaw. He'd written himself a blank check. And I'd signed it. If the dock ever became a liability, taxes, lawsuits, environmental cleanup, that was mine. My name, my credit, my problem. But if it ever became worth something, he'd already carved out 95%. Dad, Maya whispered. Why would he? It's a condemned dock. It's worthless. Search the local news, I said. Clarksburg Waterfront. She typed. Her face went white. Clarion Tech announces $2.4 billion server farm on Clarksburg Waterfront. The tech giant needed deep water access, industrial zoning, existing power infrastructure, 14 parcels, and dead center on their map 1247 Riverside Industrial Drive. My dock. The worthless dock. I started laughing. Not happy laughing. The kind you do when you realize you've been played so perfectly you almost have to admire it. Julian hadn't handed me a liability. He'd handed me a lottery ticket and made sure that when it hit, he'd collect 95% of the winnings. There was just one thing he forgot. His masterpiece had a flaw. The lawyer's name was Howard Pittz, out of Wheeling. Took my call at 9 p.m. on a Saturday. I told him everything. He was quiet a long time. Mr. Shaw, do you understand what you're sitting on? A dock. An $18 million negotiation. Clarion Tech can't build without your parcel. And according to this deed, you're the sole owner. Your son's name appears nowhere in the ownership structure. But the 95% clause is a distribution instruction on a property he doesn't own. He was so focused on shielding himself from the liability that he gave away the title. Completely. It's the cleanest self-inflicted wound I've ever seen. Julian had built the perfect trap. He just forgot he was standing inside it. Now, before the hearing, I have to tell you about the moment I almost caved. Because Maya, my Maya, the one who sold her car in the rain, sat on the edge of my bed one night, staring at the numbers on the laptop, and said, "Dad, if you gave Julian even 1 million, he'd leave us alone. We could just be done. No court, no war." She wasn't wrong. And for about 10 seconds I actually considered it. Then I remembered the garage floor, the saltines, the folder on my sickbed. "No," I said. She nodded, slow. "Okay," she said. "Then we finish it. August 14th. Harrison County Courthouse. Courtroom 3. Julian sat up front with 2 attorneys in $3,000 suits. Confident. Calm. Like he'd already won. He didn't know I was in the back row. Judge Voss didn't waste time. "Counselor, is your client's name on this deed?" Julian's lead attorney stood. "Not explicitly, Your Honor, but the intent. Intent is not ownership. Motion to dismiss is granted." The gavel came down. Julian turned around, scanned the gallery, found me. And for the first time in 3 years, I saw something on my son's face I recognized. Fear. He came to me in the hallway afterward. Caroline wasn't with him. His tie was loose. His voice was low. "Dad, you know the dock was mine. You know it." I didn't shout. I didn't need to. I just held up the deed. His deed. The one he drafted. The one he was so proud of. The one he built to protect himself from ever sharing my debt. "You were so busy making sure you wouldn't share my debt, Julian, that you forgot you wouldn't share my future." I walked past him and didn't look back. Clarion Tech closed at $18.4 million 6 weeks later. Julian sued again. Fraud. Unjust enrichment. Judge Voss threw it out with prejudice, meaning he can never refile. His firm pushed him out 3 months later. Reputation management. Caroline filed for divorce right after. Took the house, the cars, the accounts. He's in a 1-bedroom in Morgantown now. Contract law. About $90,000 a year. Almost exactly what I used to make. I'm not going to pretend that's justice. I don't know what justice is anymore. I just know what the paper says. And he wrote the paper. I gave Maya $3 million. Outright. She cried for 2 hours, and then bought a used Honda. Same model, same year, check engine light and all. "It's not about the car," she told me. "I know, kiddo. I know. I set up trusts for her kids so nobody in this family ever sells a car in the rain again. Bought a small house outside Morgantown. Porch, black coffee, sunrise over the hills." Julian sent me a letter last month. Handwritten. No lawyer. "You betrayed me. I'm your son. You stole my future." I didn't write back. But I did do something else. I framed the deed. The one he made me sign. His masterpiece. Hung it in my living room, right above the fireplace. So every morning, when I drink my coffee, I see my signature at the bottom of the trap my own son built for me. And I remember that the only reason I'm free is that he was too greedy to share even the risk. Julian says I betrayed him. I say I just followed his rules. So here's my question, and I want you to really sit with it before you answer. If your son left you to die for his credit score, would you still give him a penny? Tell me in the comments. I'm reading them all.